Their case against a man who they say killed an 84-year-old woman. David Del Rate is facing a slew of charges, including murder and the stabbing death of Ellen DePauli. Matt Markham is live in N.Adams with our continuing coverage of the case and the connection the alleged killer had with the victim. Matt.
Well, Greg, at least we're learning that there was some sort of familiar connection between Mrs. DePauli, her accused killer, David Del Rate, and Mrs. DePauli's son, James, as well. We understand that as Mr. Del Rate is accused of killing Mrs. DePauli, it doesn't appear to be any struggle in that home, according to investigators, but there is a struggle in this community trying to understand all the moving pieces of this investigation.
This is the mayor of the Commonwealth versus David Del Rate.
He pleaded not guilty to murdering the elderly woman. Court papers say he would visit, join for dinner, even stay the night. Police believe David Del Rate beat and stabbed Ellen DePauli in her N.Adams home last week.
They already all have been convicted, and it's not fair. It's not fair at all.
We spoke with a woman who said she was Del Rate's wife, living a few houses down from DePauli. She didn't want to go on camera, but did say,
"That's my husband. We took vows that that's who was part, and I don't believe he did this at all."
Del Rate allegedly told police when he was picked up Thursday in Bennington, quote, "I loved that old woman. I hurt that old woman. I could see it in her eyes," perhaps referring to Mrs. DePauli. Investigators found Del Rate in Vermont with a set of Ford keys and found Mrs. DePauli's missing blue Ford Taurus nearby. According to court documents, police found a knife in the car, possibly the one used to stab DePauli.
This is a woman who's been in this community for her entire life, and someone came into her home and killed her. This is just, tragic beyond tragic.
Del Rate, already on probation for assault and battery, was not captured until about 2 days had passed after DePauli was found dead in her home. The city mayor told neighbors there was no cause for concern before we learned of Del Rate's record or that police were even searching for him. Would you still stand by the statement that people didn't have anything to worry about while this guy who's accused of harming Mrs. DePauli was out there?
Well, let's just say that things were wrapped up. No one else was hurt. I was given assurances by our local and our state police that we really were not in any imminent threat or danger.
And the mayor says he does take his direction from the district attorney and the police. He says many of the officers here in N.Adams and Berkshire County worked 72 hours at the beginning of this investigation, some of them without so much as a lunch or dinner or a sleep break. Mr. Del Rate is being held without bail at the moment.
And Matt, I know you reported earlier that he would make visits to her home. Do we know anything yet about any possible motive?
Yeah. Well, investigators are keeping tight-lipped about that at the moment, but in court documents that we did obtain today, we could see that Mr. Del Rate is accused of taking an RV from Mrs. DePauli's son on several occasions and not asking if he could take it. So that's one thing that may lead investigators in one particular direction or another. And Mr. Del Rate also apparently told investigators, we learned this through court papers, that he liked to drink, and he was a drug user, too. So, of course, the investigation will continue while Mr. Del Rate is in custody.
All right. Matt Markham reporting live tonight from Berkshire County. Thank you, Matt. Dory?